Hello, everybody. Welcome back. Welcome back to the channel. Welcome back for another video. I hope you're all doing well. Hope that everyone out there is doing absolutely fantastic and that you're all having a great day. Do not forget to subscribe to the channel. If you haven't already done so, a very big thank you to everyone out there who supports the channel in your own way. And without any further ado, let's jump right into it. Things are seemingly getting down to the wire, or we're walking on the wire. I don't know exactly what it is. Expectations have continued to mount. The very beginning of September was lightly rocky for a lot of people. Now we are in the seemingly next phase. If you've been missing out, if you haven't been here, it's understandable. There's a lot going on. The majority, the vast majority, besides the companies acquiring Bitcoin and Ethereum news, has been the expectation as to where the markets in this market are going to go, exactly how high prices are going to be. We're seeing some more of a dribble of an extension of thought as far as things continuing well beyond September and October, with the projections once again, logically being thrown out there once again that the accumulation levels within this market are so high that it's actually leading people to say, hey, one of two things: either this current run up that we're seeing is going to extend until November, December, and or that we might see the continued bull run over the course of next year. Make no mistake, the institutions, the companies are accumulating a lot of crypto. That's something that I'm still perplexed as to how people don't understand that it's happening, that it's taking place, and that it's rapidly shaping the way that the cryptocurrency market is, the way that it's going to work, and who's going to have the actual wealth in the future. There's a seemingly blasé feeling continuously floating through this market, especially if prices happen to drop, fall, dip, go down a tiny bit. We see the Google searches begin to go down. We see the interest in the market begin to go down, while we then still have the news that accumulation for these assets is hitting a brand new high of sorts. And then the other really crazy part is that there's, once again, almost no crypto left for the rest of the world. And then when prices do go extremely high, whether it be this year or next year or 2029 or 2030 or 2032, there's going to be an annoyance in the air because a lot of people will realize what they missed out on. River is a Bitcoin financial firm. They have been analyzing, and River has found that businesses and institutions are accumulating Bitcoin at a much faster rate than it is actually being produced and created. Does that sound familiar? It should. A couple of years ago, we even had news like that. Not just last year. We've had news like that over 5, 6, 7 years of actually being in this market, even when there were more Bitcoin being produced before the other halvings. What we have now is that there's so little Bitcoin being produced every single day. Since last year, even before the halving, we were getting news that the ETFs alone within the United States were accumulating 13, that's a 13x, 13 times more Bitcoin than was actually being created, produced. Imagine a tree is creating 3 apples a day, and people for some reason are buying up 16 apples, 38 apples. That's exactly what it was like. So we continue on that train. We continue in that trend where we are seeing the rarest asset that we have ever seen, and mathematically rare as well, continues to be taken off the table at a much faster rate than it can actually be produced. What a lot of people tend, because I know, as I say, I know how people are. I know as I say those words, some of you rolled your eyes or you folded your arms because it makes no sense to you, or you don't really care, or you think it's not applicable, or that it's not something that needs to be spoken about. And that's because you probably really don't understand supply and demand. It's not meant to be rude. It's just meant to be, completely honest. Yesterday, I had lunch with a friend, and then we walked around for a bit, and we were talking about retirement. I don't know how we got there, but we were talking about retirement. We were talking about retirement plans and 401ks and pensions, and how there are and will probably always be a lot of people who don't put away money, don't care about money until it applies to them. This is usually the way that a lot of the world tends to work, is that people don't care about things until it applies to them, and then they go, why is no one helping? Why did no one help me this entire time? Not realizing that at some point you were in your 20s, you were in your 30s, you were in your 40s, you got to your early 50s, and you at no point did you care to put money away. It was about living in the moment. It was about being happy when you're 22 years old with your friends, going to the Bahamas on a $7,000 vacation, as opposed to just traveling locally, going an hour away somewhere for the weekend with your friends to a cabin. No, you had to spend all that money. So we now have the current generation who's trying desperately to retire. You know what they can to do? Retire. Yeah. A quick YouTube search really, really fast, you will find that it is nearly impossible for people who are currently 65. And of course, there's a good 10 to 15% of people who either inherited something, a property, money, or they were actually saving. But the other 85% of people, there's a huge retirement crisis. Because over the course of a 40-something year period, these people put no money away. With all the information in front of them, with all the logic. Have you seen, this one keeps popping up on my YouTube recommended, and I really don't know why. It's a video from, I think, the 90s. The thumbnail is of two women laughing. It looks like they're in what could be Times Square. It looks Times Square-Z behind them. And it said, the video title, I think, is like what people thought of retirement in the 90s, or how people saved in the 90s. And I watched the video years ago. For some reason, it keeps popping up on my recommended. Don't know why. And basically in the video, they're asking, passerby, people walking on their day, do you save money? And every single person's like, save money? Why would I do that? And they're all in their 20s. I think there's like one or two who like appear to be slightly older, if you will. And everyone else is like, no, I have too many things to do. I have too many things to buy. And things for me, when I see videos like that, especially of the past, I always think, where are these people? Some of these people were 31, they were 33. I might not have been able to tell their exact age, but they're probably well beyond the point where they would like to retire. And they saved nothing. People still do these videos now. You must have also ran across them at some point in the financial sector news. There's a lot of things where people, are you guys saving money? No, I saw some stuff that I wanted to buy, and I'm still 27, so it's not something I think about. And I always think, I'm like, you will get older. You will understand at some point that your bones hurt. You don't want to stand up all day. You don't want to do this all day. You don't want to have to answer to someone for the rest of your life. But I think bringing it on back, it's the same exact thing with crypto. It's just, I guess, a healthy life lesson that I've learned along the way. No matter how many times you try to help someone, and I mean you, like I'm not talking about just myself, that you try to help someone, you try to educate someone, you try to let them know what's going on, very few people will actually pay attention to you. And I think that's just the way that life is, or that life is meant to be. The really sad, weird part is that people need to go through some kind of a learning experience. That is to say, someone tells you, put away money every single month so that in the future you have a little nest egg. People don't do it. They get older, and then their life lesson becomes a YouTube video where they tell people, I wish I had saved more. I wish I had so-and-so. And then people watch that video. 80-90% of them don't follow it. 10% of them do. The other people, they get older. I think it's just the loop that we will have. So no matter how many times daily we get news about accumulation or companies, I do understand to a certain extent that, these things do become, the word's not muddied, but kind of jumbled together. You are essentially battling cryptocurrency news with everything else happening in life. And a lot of times other things do momentarily take precedence, but the idea of you wanting to make money, you wanting to become rich, you wanting to retire, a lot of times it ends up taking a back seat until it's in the front passenger seat and you can't kind of get away from it anymore. So yeah, I've noticed a lot of times I see people in the comment section, stop talking about the same things. Why is he only talking about this? Is because that's the news. That's what life is. Life is, we've been told, you go to school, you graduate, you go to a more expensive school, you graduate, you work for the rest of your life, and then you basically, okay, cool, you're 71, have fun on the beach that you can't walk on because your knees hurt. And then there's an alternative. And then someone tells you, hey, if you save money, if you put money away, if you do this, and it's very basic things. No one's telling you to be an active investor. This is what a lot of friends I've told over the years. People kind of always assume that investing has to be this like Wall Street kind of movie thing where you're standing in front of a screen with 80 other people and you're looking up and you're all sell, buy. And it's very like daunting to them. Or their idea of an investor is someone who has like 3 curved computer screens on their desk and they're clicking and clacking away the whole day. And they're doing this and their eyes are red. They've been looking at the screen. It's really exhausting. And I tell people no. And I try and make it easy. Try to put in $50 per month into the stock market in general. I can lightly guide you, but find something that you think fits you. At the end of the year, look at where your portfolio is. Try to understand it. Try to see where things are. I'll go, I'll help you though, the whole way. And then kind of move from there. No one's telling you to throw in 1,000, 2, 4, 5, 6, 7,000 per month. Big spender investor. No, that's all Hollywood. It is a slow and steady wins the race, but it doesn't take you as long as you might think. Imagine if you got into crypto 10 years ago, like what you would have now. Imagine if you bought a small apartment years ago, what you would have now. Imagine if you had managed to put away $200, $300 per month. I know not everyone can do it, but just imagine $200, $300 per month into the S&P 500, into crypto, into something that would have given you on average a 2-3% return, let's say per month, what have you. And I'll even broaden it or make it a little bit easier. At the end of the year, you have a good 10% return on that money. You'd have a pretty healthy nest egg right now. Far more than you would have had if you put that money into parties or this or that or new shoes or whatever the case might actually be. You'd be in a totally different position. And even me saying those words, a lot of you are listening to this right now and you go, yeah, that makes sense. In an hour and a half, you're going to forget my words. You're not going to really remember. But some of you today are going to make sure, hey, let me set up an automatic buy for this. Let me set up a so-and-so so you don't actually have to think about it. You look back at your portfolio on that website, on that so-and-so, on the thing, wherever you put your money. You'll see, oh my gosh, I totally forgot that I have that money. Look how much it's grown. Look how well that I'm doing. Actually, I did want to put down money on a house. I did want to do so-and-so. Now I have the actual money to do it. It's a very slim line of people who choose to pay attention or who are able to actually think ahead. Not many people care to think ahead or to think what is going to happen to me in a year, in 5 years. Do I want to work in 5 years? Do I want to be sitting in this office in 10 years? Do I want more? Everybody wants to be rich, but not everybody wants to do what they need to do to become rich or even well off. It sounds like a joke, but that's not the joke. It's just life. Yeah. So in the cryptocurrency world, as I've gone over for a multitude of years, people seem to only pay attention when prices rise. You wonder how these companies and institutions are managing to accumulate so many coins, but besides the money that they have, but it's this slow persistence of them constantly buying up coins, and then we get news. Institutions have this many coins, and people go, "That's when did they do that?" Well, it's when you weren't paying attention. It's when you were told your friends, nah, the market fell by 20%. I think the bull run's over. You were only buying during the bull run. You were only buying as prices went up. You weren't paying attention to like when prices were lower. We were getting this news every 24 hours. It's about staying consistent. It's about finding a market that works for you and latching onto it. That's how you make money. In 2025, public and private firms acquired about 1,755 Bitcoin per day on average. Can anyone tell me why that's significant? I think because I think there's currently 450 Bitcoin created per day. I think that's the current number. 1,755. And this is also a guesstimate. This is like what we know for sure. These are the public companies who have to relay the messages to the US SEC and private firms who decide that they want to be on the news. There are other companies who just aren't saying, you know how we keep getting like whale news all the time, and there's an on-chain transfer, 13,000 Bitcoin just moved to an unknown wallet. That's not included in here. This includes companies that have added Bitcoin to their reserves, regardless of whether they are listed or privately owned. At the same time, investment products such as exchange-traded funds or ETFs picked up an average of 1,430 Bitcoin daily. Governments, through purchasing in smaller volumes, still brought in around 39 Bitcoin per day. And these are the governments who have told us that they are buying Bitcoin. Told us. It is estimated. I think that we have around 12 countries who we know are buying Bitcoin, but I believe there are only 3 or something like that who have actually like divulged that level of information. We know that El Salvador is one of them, and they historically tend to, and I say only, air quotes, only buy 1 Bitcoin a day. Then you also have the news that we got earlier this year from Novogratz, from Mike Saylor, from what's the other eccentric guy? I can't remember this guy's name. The guy, like, he has like the baseball cap backwards. I don't remember his name. And 2 other people who said that they were in direct conversation with a number of other countries, and they signed like massive NDAs where they basically couldn't say for, and yeah, they're also buying a Bitcoin, but it's just simply not public. River posted on Twitter, businesses are absorbing Bitcoin at 4 times the rate it is mined. And then they have a cute little graphic there with a whole bunch of other stuff, and awesome, fantastic. Yeah, guys. Always remember, and this isn't a joke, this is a proper life lesson in what you should be doing. Stop paying attention to other people. Stop paying attention to what they're doing. Stop paying attention to, and I say this from like a jealousy standpoint. I didn't know a lot of people were doing this. A lot of people apparently look at what other people have, and then they scrutinize it, and they get upset. And they write things online, and they'll write things on Twitter, and they'll talk about their money. And I'm just focus on yourself. Focus on you. Focus on how much money you are making, how much more money you want to make. Focus on your investments. Focus on your wealth. Focus on making sure that you retire early. I didn't think that that needed to be said, but alas, here we are. No, make sure that you are focusing on yourself. Rich people are not thinking about you. Stop thinking about them. Do what you need to do so that by the end of October, the end of November, the end of December, you have enough money to do what you want to do investment-wise or in your life. We are seeing Bitcoin and Ether being taken off of exchanges and purchased in ways that we have never seen before. It's getting quite dramatic. We are seeing the wealth transfer. This idea of the wealth transfer years ago, especially in crypto, people thought that it would be loud. People banging on buckets and cans and screaming out loud, money's moving, money's moving. It's happening silently around you every single day. The best part is you are getting the news. Isn't that amazing? Yeah. You are part of the few people who are paying attention to the fact that this news is happening. You know that mathematically, they're buying far more Bitcoin than is being created. And even the Bitcoin that's being created, all of it is not hitting crypto exchanges. The people who mine Bitcoin are mining it for themselves. Yeah, that's also a weird misconception. People think that all the Bitcoin being created per day is all hitting crypto exchanges. No. Sometimes companies will sell a bit to pay for electricity. Do you remember who the sold coins go to? If you were here last year, they go to banks. Yes, we had news from a number of large cryptocurrency Bitcoin mining companies who said that they were directly contacted by large banks who said, if you decide to sell any coins, sell them to us. Right? Don't forget how early you are in this market. Don't forget the chance and opportunity that you've been given. You are currently in a race. You're running ahead. You are further ahead than billions, 8 billion people on the planet. Use the opportunity that you have. I think that's going to do it for this video, everyone. I do hope that you've all enjoyed. I do hope you all are having a great day, morning, afternoon, evening, wherever you are, wherever you might be. I do hope that it is absolutely fantastic. Thank you all once again for watching, listening, liking the video, commenting on the video, and subscribing if you haven't already done so. And I will most certainly be talking to you all soon. See you.